morning, beloveds. Okay, this is what happened to me last night. There is a Reverend Norm-shaped hole in our lives today. And you probably have no idea who Reverend Norm is. He was one of my teachers in Holmes Institute. I took at least 3 classes with him, if not 4. And he was just bigger than life. Just bigger than life. And he was all about the glitter and the drama and the pageantry. And one of the classes that he took, and I cannot remember the name of it for the love of anything, was how to teach, how to do a service, and that's what he wanted. He wanted all of the pageantry and all of the drama. I know I took Understanding the Bible 1 and 2 with him, and then how to organize a service, because he and I both had Catholic upbringings. He was a Catholic priest for a long time. And so I was like, oh, I got your number. You want all of the drama, all of the pageantry. If you want to have live camels on Christmas Eve, he was down for that. I wouldn't put it past him if he didn't. And one of the songs that we did, that they did for my ordination, was because I watched him do that song in sign language during one of the services that I got to see while I was a student, because we went to Colorado Springs at least twice. And yeah. And the way I found out was shocking. It was actually Reverend Jesse texted the pastoral care. And I went, what? Because I hadn't checked my email. I checked my email once a day. And I hadn't checked my email. And the notification from home office came after I checked my email. And I hadn't been on Facebook. And then as soon as he sent that text message, then I clicked over to Facebook, and the very first text was from one of my fellow students who was one of his, she was his mentor, or he was her mentor. Sorry, the other way around. And I went, oh, and I was stunned into silence. And that's kind of hard to do, stun me into silence. I always have something to say. And so that's where it is. And so my initial thought is, the best way to remember our teachers is to do what they taught us to do. So, yeah, that's what it is. So, Reverend Norm Bouchard, I'm so grateful that you were at the convention in January where I passed my ordination panels, and I got to throw one more hug on you, because you were at my graduation, and I think you were at Reverend David's graduation, and, and I got to see you several times while I was a student. And, as I said, a little bit of glitter, a little bit of drama, a little bit of pageantry has left the world, but not 1 ounce of love. So, that's where I'm at today. And, in 30 years, when they put another one of these books together, like Beyond Appearances, then I'm quite sure that Reverend Norm will be one of the names in it. Reverend Jesse's in this one, and he'll be in that one too. I've had amazing teachers in my life. So, all right. It is December 9th. Our title is Why Pray? The first quote is, people ought always to pray. And that is Luke 18:1. And then the second quote is, we are not ashamed of our trust in God, nor are we to deny the inner light that lights every person's reason to the ultimate reason of all. And that is The Science of Mind, page 479. True prayer is articulating what inwardly we feel and desire. It is not expressed to please or impress others. An old hymn written by James Montgomery expresses this beautifully. Prayer is the soul's sincere desire, uttered or unexpressed, the motion of a hidden fire that trembles in the breast. The words we consciously speak in prayer link us to the power of God. Kenneth R. Olson, in First Steps in Prayer, concludes his book with these simple words. Prayer is the communication of the soul with its only comrade. It is the renewal of strength from an almighty friend. It is the clasping of hands of a loving parent. It is the only way to live, really live completely, utterly, victoriously, and abundantly. It is for you. Launch out and make it yours. Ernest Holmes writes, there is a vitality in our communion with the infinite, which is productive of our highest good. As a fire warms the body, as food strengthens us, as sunshine raises our spirits, so there is a subtle transition of some invisible force in such communion, weaving itself into the very warp and weft of our mentalities. This conscious commingling of our thought with spirit is essential to the well-being of every part of us. Prayer enables us to go deeply within ourselves and there meet the presence of God. This is the closet Jesus suggested we enter when we pray, and while there, talk with God as friend to friend. Then, when we mentally return our attention to outer things, we shall perceive the world in a new light. We shall see people, places, and things glistening and glowing with the radiance of light from within. I am refreshed, inspired, and motivated to live a fuller life by my communion with the Spirit of God within me. I rejoice and give back for having found the way to truly live. And that is W.K. William Kintner. Wayne Kintner. I think it's William Wayne Kintner or Wayne William Kintner. Point being. Okay. Sorry, just towards the end of that, I was starting to hear Reverend Norm in my head. So, yeah. Okay. Why pray? When we talk about prayer or treatment and meditation, one of the things that we will frequently say, or I will frequently say, is that prayer or treatment is when we talk to God, and meditation is when we listen to God. So that is the point of prayer. Prayer is to speak out loud, or in our if we tend to pray silently, to speak to God about what it is that we want. What is it that we desire in our world, in ourselves? What is it that we desire? We speak that to God. We speak it. And the point of speaking is to express, to align with that which we say we want. God knows what we need. God knows what we want. But until we ask, i.e. in prayer, that's when we signal our readiness to accept it. So why pray? Why talk to God? And that was one of the gifts of my childhood. And maybe it's because I grew up, as I tell people, I grew up military Catholic, and occasionally they'll ask me, well, what does that mean? Well, when you grow up Catholic, I had a Catholic underpinning to my learning, but you grew up on military bases. Well, military churches and military ministers have to serve everybody that comes to them. They can't just be one faith. They can't just serve one faith. They have to serve them all. So they're a lot more egalitarian. And I will grant you, in the Catholic Church, there's a lot of pageantry and a lot of glitter. And that's when Reverend Norm was like, yeah, I may have been Catholic and I may be CSL now, but I'm bringing it with me. And I'm down with that. I'm down with that. So, yeah. So, that's, I've always talked to God as if friend to friend. I've always talked to God friend to friend. Yeah, I get the whole parent-child relationship, but I have my own relationship with my parents. So, it's like, I choose not to have that kind of relationship with God. I choose to experience God as a friend. And that's what so I do. And when I pray, I talk to God as if God were my friend, because I honestly believe that. I honestly believe that. I believe in the good, so, that's what prayer is. Prayer is talking to God. Prayer is expressing the way I want to see the world. And that's one of the reasons why we state our prayers as facts and we don't beg and plead. And that is something, it's like yes, we are asking because we are aligning ourselves with what it is that we want. And we are aligning ourselves with the power that always says yes. I'm not going to beg and I'm not going to plead. I'm going to know that God is good and that God is my friend. And that as I am open to it, God will bring me everything that I ask for, everything that I need, everything that I desire that is in alignment with God. God is not going to answer a prayer that's not in alignment with what God is. And that is a good thing. And I love all the quotes. I love the quote from the hymn. I love the quote from the books. And then he's quoting Ernest Holmes. And there was the very last line, when he was, okay, first off, I'm going to point out, and I don't know if this was, William Kintner or Wayne Kintner, or if it was, because, somebody didn't know how to weave, because I'm going to point this out, weaving itself into the very warp and woof. That's what dogs do. It's wef. I do know a little bit about weaving. So I was like, what? And the warp and wef of our, not woof, wef, of our mentalities. But this line, the conscious commingling of our thought with spirit is essential to the well-being of every part of us. That is what prayer is. Prayer is the conscious commingling with spirit, the conscious commingling with the divine mind. It is when we speak to the universe and the universe speaks through us. That is what prayer is. That is why we do it, to consciously commingle with the source of our own being. All right? The divine mind, the divine pattern. That is why we pray. So the mission today, should we choose to accept it, is to consciously commingle our thoughts with spirit, with the divine mind, with the divine pattern, and speak to God as if friend to friend. Speak to God as friend to friend. All right? This is who you are. You are a godling, you are a divine spark. Speak to God as a friend. There it is. There it is. Okay, so that is the mission. Conscious commingling with spirit. Conscious commingling. Okay, the other mission is the same mission I give you every day, which is to do something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, do something compassionate with yourself. Today, all of us who have knew and love Reverend Norm, the kindness, the compassion, the loving thing that we can do is be with our grief. Let it be what it is. You have watched me cry a couple of times already today. That is the most loving, kind, and compassionate thing I can do for myself, is to let I'm not going to bottle those emotions up, all right? So sometimes that's what loving kindness, compassion looks like. And yes, people's grief makes other people uncomfortable. It does. But this man was very important in my ministry. And will continue to be. So that is the loving, kind, and compassionate thing. I am going to be true with my grief. It also looks like taking a deep breath. It also looks like taking a nap. It also looks like going and celebrating an ordination of an amazing friend. Trust me, that's loving, kind, and compassion. I'm super excited about that. But it's also about dessert. Loving, kind, and compassion is self-care and joy. And there is joy in grief. Because the depth of the grief is the depth of the love and the joy of having had that person in our life. I'm not going to forget that. So, all right. Ooh, okay. My nose is running. This is a good thing though. All right. So, loving, kind, compassion. Practice on yourself. You are your best test subject. You also deserve your own love. You deserve your own kindness. You deserve your own compassion. All right. You're a beloved child of God in whom God is well pleased and well represented. Always. You are a divine spark. So, practice, practice, practice. It makes permanent. All right. It is about creating a habit, a default setting, a first response. And the first response that all of us absolutely would love to have with ourselves and with other people is love, kindness, and compassion. Practice. Okay. It is a spiritual practice. All right. I also encourage you to do something to engage your mind and your body, unless today is your day of rest. I way overslept today because today is my day of rest, but it's a good thing and I'm okay with it. I encourage you to drink plenty of water. Hydration is super important. Your brain will work better if you hydrate well. I encourage you to get early in your day, bright light, be it sunshine or artificial light, depending on what time you get up and what time the sun gets up. It is science. It is about resetting those hormones. It is called a circadian rhythm. It will improve your energy during the day and you will sleep better at night. Okay? Science. We are science of mind, right? I always kind of feel like Bill Nye when I say science. But that is also, I think, from a music video. So here we are. Okay. She blinded me with science. I think that's where that's from. That's what I hear in my head every time I say science. Okay. In the words of Ernest Holmes, open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you, you do live in heaven right here, right now. It's all around us all the time. It literally is a superpower. When we discover that heaven is a state of mind, it's a state of consciousness. We talked about co-mingling our consciousness with spirit. That's part of what that is. All right. About recognizing where heaven is. If it's a state of mind, if it's a state of consciousness, it means that heaven isn't a place, it's any place. All right. That right there is just the coolest thing ever. We have superpowers. And we can always take Emma's advice. Look for the good and praise it. Okay. Gratitude will get you everywhere. I promise. It's another one of those spiritual practices that's just incredible and amazing. And I commend it to you. And I'm out of words. So here is where I will do the social media part. I will remind you, we are Creative Life Spiritual Center. We are Creative Life Spark. And I am the running Rev Ryan on the social medias that I am on. We try and put amazing content up as often as we can. So please feel free to check those out. And I will then remind you, if you want to know what's going on with the center, email info@creativelife.org. That will get you on the constant contact. The hot links are hot. The hottest thing that we've got going on is the ordination of Reverend David Dewhurst tonight. That is not going to be broadcast live. That will be on Zoom. If you haven't requested your Zoom link, or because it is live in person, you can show up if you're in the area. So please do that. Please, the email at the info@creativelife.org. Let me not slur my words. Email info@creativelife.org. That will get you to either what you can request the Zoom link there, or in the constant contact, there's a place to request it. Okay. So here's where I get to encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanting day, a wonder-filled day, an awesome day, a holding yourself day, a commingling day, a consciousness day, a sitting with your grief day, if that is what you need, a good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day, because you are enough just as you are. You are that brilliant light. You are that divine spark. You are that godling. You are spirit in motion. You are God in action. You are a beloved child of spirit, in whom spirit is well pleased and well represented. All right. So take care of yourself. All right. I assume Reverend David will be on around 5 p.m. because his stuff gets started at 7:30. So look out for his. I'll be back with you around 9 a.m. I get to go back to the park for the first time in like 3 months. I'm super excited. That's an exaggeration. It's been like 2 months, but I get to go to the park, so I'm very excited. But I should be on around 9. And then we'll carry on and have a lot of fun. So take care of yourself, know that you're loved, and I will see you next time.